partnership-driven strategies that foster voluntary compliance. And to shed more light on this issue, we are so delighted to be accompanied over the phone by Dr. Ayman Ghoneim, the economic expert. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, we wanted to shed more light on this issue, so I'd like to ask you, what is the main goal of the Ministry of Finance new tax facilitation package?
Well, actually, the new tax facilitation package was enacted by those number 5, 6, and 7 of the year 2025, and they came as a reflection of the instructions given by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the general belief in the whole government that the small and medium-sized enterprises are the locomotive for the growth, for the economic growth in Egypt and in most of the emerging markets like Southeast Asia, especially Southeast Asia, of course. We know that the definition of the small and medium-sized enterprises assign the small enterprises for those less than 50 million pounds turnover per annum, and the micro enterprises those with a turnover of less than 1 million pounds per annum. So the new tax incentive program is targeting the small enterprises, because it targets companies and establishments with less than 20 million pounds sales per annum. Now, if we explore through this tax incentive program, we'll find that we have a lot of tax exemptions. For example, there is a tax exemption from the capital tax gains, from the profit distribution, from the custom duties, from the advance payments and other stuff in the taxation. And also there is another system that fosters the trust between the finance provider or the taxpayers and the Ministry of Finance. It calls for only 4 declarations of the value addition taxes per annum. There is also a maximum cap placed on the fines, on the late payment fines, which is equal to 100% of the amount of the taxes. So the fines will not accumulate and will not become a burden on the taxpayer, hindering him from paying. Actually, I'd like to shed light also on the exemption from the profit distribution taxes, because this was a system employed in Egypt before 2005. And actually, all over the world, you have 2 types of companies. You have people companies and you have joint stock companies. People companies are mainly partnerships and personal establishments. So in the past, the people companies that are mainly partnerships, as I said, used to pay taxes only once per annum on their profits, and of course they did not pay the profit distribution taxes like the rest of the world. After 2005, a new law at that time was enacted, and it forced the people companies to pay taxes twice. First on the net profit of the company, and then when the company distributes profits, the owners who received these distributions, they used to pay taxes on them. And this was one of the reasons that hindered a lot of investment and that hindered a lot of entrepreneurs from establishing partnerships and going into business. So I believe that the new system, first of all, as we said, it fosters the trust between the taxpayer and the tax authority. That's number one. And number two, it also provides a lot of tax incentives. It provides a lot of tax exemptions in order to give an incentive for the small investor, for the entrepreneur to start their business. Not only to start their business, but also for the people who operate in the informal economy to start merging into the formal economy and paying taxes and enjoying all the benefits of merging into the formal economy.
Well, that leads us to why is the Federation of Small and Medium Enterprises considered as a key partner in the process of the implementation of the tax measures?
Well, actually, the sector of the small and medium-sized enterprises, as we said, is a strategic or a strategically important sector for the whole economy due to many reasons. First of all, it's a labor-intensive sector, and in Egypt we managed to reduce our unemployment rate from around 12.7% in 2016 to presently 6.4%, and we're aspiring to create more jobs and reduce this level more. Of course, the reduction in the unemployment rate was mainly driven by the construction sector and the mega infrastructure projects that were implemented by the government. We don't expect such a big growth and such a big movement to last forever. Now the country is shifting towards industrial economy, industrial and services economy. So now Egypt is trying to take advantage of the mega projects and the superb infrastructure of projects that were undertaken during the last 10 years in order to boost its industrial and services sector. And we've seen the Egyptian strategy for manufacturing industries that was announced by His Excellency General Kamel Al-Wazir, the Deputy Prime Minister. Of course, at the heart of this strategy is the encouragement of the small and medium-sized enterprises, because first of all, these are the feeding industries to the big factories, and also such enterprises they demand the products and services of the mega projects, so they serve both ways. So as we said, they have a labor-intensive feature, reducing the unemployment, and also we should never forget that this sector was the locomotive behind the big achievements and the economic growth in Southeast Asia, especially after the Second World War. Also, the sector of small and medium-sized enterprises, unfortunately, a big part of it until now it's still in the informal sector, and we're trying to push them to shift to the formal sector. Of course, the government is not trying to shut down such informal companies or informal enterprises, because first of all, they provide goods and services to the economy and they provide labor, but the idea is to try to convince them to merge into the real or the formal sector.
Well, since we're mentioning some pivotal roles that have been played in this case or this cause, we'd like to know more about the role of the Ministry of Finance in supporting the economic activities and investments.
Well, here you're tackling two important things. Number one, the role of the Ministry of Finance, or the role of the fiscal policy in supporting the economic growth in Egypt. This is number one. And number two, also the digital transformation. Because now the country is trying very hard to catch the digital age and to foster the digital transformation and to provide public and private services through digital channels. So if we talk about the role of the fiscal policy, as we said, the Ministry of Finance has devised this new package in order, first of all, to give an incentive to the small companies, especially those with less than 20 million pounds per annum turnover, to give an incentive for them to start merging into the real sector and to start operating in the light, if we can say, and to pay taxes and to get back to business, because many of these enterprises, and I know many of the owners of such enterprises, they went out of business actually in the previous few years due to many financial difficulties, but now the government is trying to get them back to business and to get them back to the formal sector. Also the digital transformation part, because now Egypt is trying to digitalize, if you can say, the public and private services, and the public services provided by the government, first of all, in order to streamline those services, in order to make them easy and make them accessible for everybody, and increase the efficiency of the government agencies. This would increase the competitiveness of Egypt as a country that fosters investment, whether foreign or local investment. And we know, of course, that the economy is like a cycle. When the cycle starts moving either through local or foreign investment, and the movement is efficient, then the whole, all the gears of the economy, all the gears of the apparatus would move. So I believe that these steps are really important, and I believe that we will see a lot of fruits for such steps in the very near future. And actually, such step was commended, if we can follow up, if we can see the reactions of the international economic agencies and international financial agencies. Such steps, especially the tax incentive for the small companies, were really commended by such agencies, like especially the IMF and the World Bank.
Well, Dr. Ayman Ghoneim, the economic expert, thank you so much for the info, and thank you for joining me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a short break and we'll be back.